Oh no!
Hey,
Oh
everybody!
we're live! Oh no! Oh no!
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Welcome
Hey.
to Don't Worry Wednesday, the Friday edition. Hey, as you probably have noticed, I'm here by myself on video, but I'm not here by myself on audio. Ryan's about to say something.
He sure is.
Oh, there it was.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, what do you can't just like put me on the spot to like say something special.
Ryan's going to say something now.
You see, why did you do that to me again? You have to let me think of something, you just throw that on me.
Now.
No. Yeah.
Yep. Well, due to some technical difficulties, we were unable to get Ryan's video up and on tonight. But he is here with us in audio. So hopefully you guys don't mind looking at my face.
It's the best.
It's a weird one, for sure.
Like all of ours. Everybody's face is weird. Did you look at it?
Kinda. I guess that could be true. But anyway, but yeah, welcome. It's Don't Worry Wednesday, and you guys that have been here before, you know how this works. Just feel free to post whatever is bothering you in the chat, or you can post it on our website at bss.studio. I think Princess already put it up. She did, and I'm going to put it up again. Or you can send us an email at dww@bss.studio if you'd like to remain anonymous. That would be fine too. So, well, I just want to welcome everybody, and it's going to be a good show amidst the technical issues. So, yeah. Ryan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. Having a wonderful time. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Ryan is actually on vacation, and he's gracing us with his presence while on vacation. That's how.
Honestly, I wouldn't want to miss it. It's so awesome to be here and be with you guys, and it's always such a wonderful time. I wouldn't want to miss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me neither. This is definitely the highlight of my week. Both times we do it. So,
yeah, I get you there.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, it's Friday and it's gonna be cool. So we have some stuff on the backlog.
Sure do.
That is a nice Ryan face. I don't even know which Ryan face it is. It's beautiful. Ryan, which Ryan face is that?
Which one? Wait, what? Well,
Cody says, Ryan, I've never seen such a high quality camera. And then
are they talking about my the image? Oh my gosh, dude, I'm sorry, I have to tell you. Not only is your face pink, but your bongos and your guitar became pink.
They did.
Yeah, it was intense. Anyways,
that's awesome.
As I was saying, I think they might be talking about the picture that we have on the stream, but they might also be talking about my face in the chat, because I'm posting as Ryan Seawald, so I don't know which one they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I noticed that you are posting as Ryan Seawald.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ryan Seawald.
Yeah, thanks. No, hey Ryan Seawald, welcome to the chat. Well, let me respond. No.
That is awesome. So, all right. Well, we have a whole bunch of topics in the queue here. We have one from Angel. We have one from Uni. We have one from Tef. We have two from Akil. We have Kendra, Princess, Epsilon, Galaxis. Another one from Akil, and one from Dead.
Holy cow, that's amazing.
Yeah. We have a whole bunch of them. And so anybody who's here that I just listed off, please make yourself known. Princess, we see that you are here. But I'm not sure. Tef or Angel or Uni or Akil.
By the way, anybody who's listening, Princess is our amazing hostess. She does a wonderful job
Mhm.
welcoming everybody, and I just want to give her some attention because she's amazing.
Akil says Princess is here. That's perfect.
That's great because Akil is not telling you that he's here. He's just telling you that Princess is here. That's awesome.
Yes.
Cody's here as well. Hey, Cody.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So Akil has one called Umbra or Umbra. One of the two.
You can roll the R, make it sound even cooler.
Umbra.
That was nice.
Like that? That's
yeah,
good.
I like that. That was very nice.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So you're right, Cody. Princess is the best hostess ever. She's so awesome in the chat. I'll tell you, she's awesome on video as well.
Hey, Anna, nice to see you.
Yeah. And
She's
also our
awesome.
producer is Jesse. And if anybody was curious, it's not Jesse's fault that Ryan doesn't have any video.
Right, that's my fault.
He's a great producer. And do not start a support ticket if you don't want to. You can.
Oh, they'll do it. They'll support one. They'll start a support ticket under the section Joe.
Yes, they can do that. Yep. Joe is a problem because he's telling me I need to do this.
He's telling me not to do a support ticket, but I'm doing one. So there's obviously a problem. And so, yeah.
Right. Support ticket is to support Jesse.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they're for. Yeah. Send really positive messages on the support ticket line to support Jesse and his accomplishments.
Yes.
And what he has to do in the future. Great idea.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So nice. All right. Well, we will start with Akil's Umbra first.
Umbra.
And I see Epsilon, you're here as well. Welcome. So yeah, let's get rolling with Akil. So I will post the link if you guys want to read along this one, because it does have some content and it might be good to follow along. So I gotta make sure I post it in all possible places. All right. So this is from Akil. What was that, Ryan?
This is Umbra, and this is before or after Ego?
This was the first one on the list.
All right. I just got to find it on my phone so I can...
It was from March 1st.
Oh, I found it.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
So, Akil, thank you for posting, and we'll read through it now. So, Akil says, I am not fair in both judgment and skin color. I'll admit it. My hair was black. My eyes were thought to be black too. Black was considered as an absence of light instead of a color. Losing black in my life, though, made me see everything with less light, darker, ironically. I've kept my hair short because of this, because having my loved ones wonder about my white hair is not what I want to put them through. White hair ended up on my head as a reminder of the past. So isn't it treasonous of me to cut them? I thought I could live with myself, but I still feel like I should do more for the people I've lost in my life. The hair color is a toll, telling me I've got things to do. Haircuts aren't solving anything. I still could hear them when I close my eyes. I still am paying them with the black of my hair. Over time, my hair grew, and I saw myself having quite the number of whites. Each of them signified a change in me, and as even when I am paying with a part of myself, I gain new parts from the people I've lost in return. I don't feel like myself anymore. Something feels wrong. Who the swear word have I become? Sailor words. Even an old friend of mine knew and decided to steal my identity information. The flames that burned my hair black with determination are now out. Cussing, I end up less efficient than before. My fingers are twitching. I'm getting less proficient with my own hands. I became hesitant in counting money. My hands are not as fast in gaming. My knife handling in kitchen deteriorated. barely can understand my own handwriting, and even my execution of gripping slowed down. I'm sorry, probably just making excuses of skipping drawing everyone a Valentine's doodle this year now. My nerves are fine, so that just leaves my mind. Last time I've gotten professional help, she died in despair. Am I going to continue being cursed with death? Pretty ironic. Akil was supposed to mean mind, but here I am getting hindered by my own namesake. I guess all the people I've lost are like my brain cells because I'm surely becoming a bigger idiot. I lost the skills I've gained over the years. How can I regain them now? Can I pick up a new ability with how pathetic I am? Who am I serving? Am I being earnest or just selfishly trying to dilute my guilt? I guess he was right. I'm a hypocrite that refused to accept what's rotten inside me. I had the nerve to think that I've been chosen to live because I might do something big. The only thing accurate to that size scaling are my mistakes. Why the bleep can I still smile, though? I'm not going sadistic and planning something in the back of my head, right? And that is from Akil.
Akil always writes very poetically.
Yes. Thank you for your introspection, Akil, and thank you for it. It definitely takes some thought to post the way you do because it's rich with words and feelings in the words.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah. So, but it looks like, I mean, Akil, you've lost some skills. There are some things that have deteriorated and changed from you based on some of the stresses and tensions that you've had. And it seems to be causing a little bit of maybe a problem with guilt, or I don't know, just kind of a down feeling from all that. So Ryan, what do you have to say to Akil as he goes through this?
Sure. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, life. Sometimes I feel like we need to take a step back and get the idea in our head that we aren't an accumulation of all of our failures of the past, and that we can start new. I know a lot of times it's hard to start anew. And I don't mean like sell everything you own and go out there and, start entirely fresh. What's cool about the life you've lived so far is that you have a lot to draw from, a lot of experiences and a lot of hardships, for sure, that can strengthen you. But one thing I think that a lot of us are drawn to believe is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that whole line. You actually can teach an old dog new tricks, by the way. The problem is when you go so long, and by the way, people count for that too. Old people can learn new things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might feel like, oh, I can't, I've lived for a while and picking things up doesn't just come as naturally as it used to. Well, that's actually, I think, a misconception that we all have. We go through lives and we start to have an ability learning new things, picking new things up at a certain age, because of the amount of things we learned before that and the amount of different things that we're trying at the time and learning and picking up and doing. But then there comes to a point in life where we stop trying new things, and we end up sticking with something for a very long time. Usually, when we're about high school, or maybe when we get our first job or whatever, we start slowing down the different new creative activities we try, or like, I've never tried that sport before. Why don't I give that a shot? And then we decide to try it. We find out, oh, I'm just not talented in that. I'm not very good at basketball, apparently, because you only tried it once. But when you're a kid, you don't have those high expectations for yourself. So you just try it and you just take what you get. And you're like, oh, that was fun. Rather than thinking, oh, I'm not very good at it because I didn't win. You think, oh, I had a good time running around and stuff. That was fun. So let me go out and do that again. And then that's how you get good. You try over and over and over. So sometimes we got to kind of just switch our perspective and go, you know what? I can learn new things. I just got to go out there and start learning. It might feel like it's taking longer to learn new things, but that's because the past is so distant from us. We don't remember how long it took to learn things in the past. Um, I mean, think about, and this is kind of a silly example, but it is an example. Think about walking. I mean, we've talked about this example before. A baby will fall like 99 or something crazy amount of times before it learns how to walk. It tries over and 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 over. And I haven't reached 99 yet, so I'm just gonna keep on going over and over and over and over. Okay, I won't. But you get the idea. Think about that. What have you tried that you've tried that many times recently? Probably nothing. And that's okay. Because once we reach adulthood, we often don't have a lot of things that we need to try new.
Mm.
But when we limit ourselves and we don't try something new just because we are afraid of the failure or afraid of messing it up, or just we think that we can't learn it because we've tried it a few times and it didn't work, and we give up. I mean, the adulthood, we often lose sight of just try until you make it, you know? And so sometimes we got to take a step back and relive that kind of youthful experience of, let's try this. Let's not worry about how bad we are, because we're going to be bad, let's be honest. But let's just have fun doing it and then get into the groove of doing it over and over and learning it. And that's the same thing with anything. Now, there is a correlation. I know that there are professional, like StarCraft players, for example. It's been said that the prime time for a StarCraft player. So StarCraft, by the way, is an online game. It came out in 1989. Wait, no, sorry, 1998. My gosh, 1989 is way longer. Okay, 1998, StarCraft came out. And if you know anything about video games, it's a real-time strategy game. Anyhow, the competitions for that are huge, and they're still running today, including especially StarCraft 2, which came out not several years though by now. Anyways, people game for that, and it takes a lot of concentration, because you're controlling, hundreds of units around a map, also buildings, trying to control your economy and your resources, your income, making sure you're not getting more than you need, but a steady flow to actually use it in a timely manner. Make sure you're expanding your bases, make sure you're building your units up and you're upgrading them and all sorts of different stuff. And on top of that, you're actually fighting somebody else who's doing the same thing. And you're trying to one-up them in various different ways. Should I drop units in the back of their base, or is that going to buy them too much time to get attacked my front base and do me in? So all of these things are running through your head. But what they say is the prime time for a StarCraft professional player is between ages, I can't remember, it was about 18 to, I think it was around 26 or something along that line. Maybe up to 27, 28. But after that point, most StarCraft professional players stop playing. And it's not because their mind can't keep up. It's because their fingers can't move quick enough to respond to their thoughts, which is interesting. Our bodies naturally decay over time. And apparently, when you're into something where you need that fast of movement with just your fingers, your brain slows down those functions to click really fast, move your fingers, and kind of react and so on and so forth. So there is a truth to, as you age, your ability to game is hindered. There is truth to that. But that doesn't mean you can't be good. There are also StarCraft players that are at the top who defy those rules because they never stopped playing, because they put the hours and hours into the game that they need to. They defy those limitations of the youthful speeds because they honed their skills and they never stopped. And I think, anyways, my point is, in all of this is there is some truth to slowing down, but that doesn't mean you can't learn something new. It doesn't mean you can't do amazing things. It's very natural is what I'm trying to say. It's very natural what you're going through, the slowing down of your capabilities of playing video games and stuff like that. That's normal. It's not just something that you're facing alone in the world. That's something that's actually been recorded and published as very like a lot, like everybody experiences this. And so what I'm just pointing out here is that you're human. That's cool. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you with that. Okay. But also, I want to inspire you and hope you understand, like, you can learn new things. My brother didn't become like basically a car mechanic until he was like 29. He learned everything about how to do car stuff. I think he might've been 30. I don't know. But he taught himself from YouTube all the stuff he needs to know to be a car mechanic. And he did it without knowing anything beforehand about the field. You are completely capable of that too. The main thing that holds us back in life from learning those things is we're afraid of the failure. We don't want to try something and fail and mess it up even more. We don't want to go dig into a car and be like, oh no, now I broke more things than were broken to start with. And now I have to get all of this fixed. And then it's overwhelming. But that stuff usually doesn't happen. And if it does, cool. Now you'll learn even more because now you have more problems to fix. And now it'll be even bigger learning experience. So you really just got to put a different perspective on it, a different twist, and not be afraid of yourself because you can handle whatever comes your way. Akil, you're an amazing person. You're alive today. You've been through crazy stuff I do not know about. And you've been through some crazy stuff I do know about, especially with your relationships with friends and that sort of thing. And you've been through some crazy stuff. And you've handled all of it so far. You are alive. You are kicking. You are still contemplating becoming a better version of yourself. Still contemplating what's best for you. Still fighting the demons that are inside you. You're still putting up that fight, dude. It's not over. You're not over it. You've got so much ahead of you you can offer the world through all that you're learning now, all that you've experienced in the past. And all of your battles, they don't just build you up, they build the world up around you. They build people up, even if it's those people that betray you at some point. You've built them up at least a little bit, and that's good. I mean, that's nothing to regret, helping those people, even if they hurt you in the future. It's good to be able to have that forgiveness for them to, and them to have forgiveness to you, to take you back into that relationship. But if they don't, whatever, you're improving the world around you every battle you fight and win. So keep on doing that. Don't be discouraged by your performance. Don't be discouraged by your failures. Just remember it's just all a battle, and you're winning. By the way, you might not feel like you're winning, but you are winning, Akil. The person who's losing is the person who's not contemplating these things anymore. The person who's given up, the person who's just like, okay, I'll just be evil then. If this world is going to be evil to me, I'll be evil back, But you're not doing that, are you? At least maybe you fail sometimes on that, but you're not doing that 100% of the time. You're contemplating things. You're trying to do a good job. You're fighting the inner demons inside of you, And so I encourage you to just keep on going with it and continue to win those battles as you are. But anyhow, I'm going to stop right there and let Joe take it away for a while and see what he's got to say about all of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, Ryan, because that was really awesome.
You're awesome.
Well, I don't know about that so much. If I am awesome, it's because I learned from you. See, so I'm learning stuff too. What's that?
All right, whatever, man.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ryan, so much for that. It's really interesting. I love what Ryan was talking about. It seems as we get older, we just don't want to try things as much. We just want to, we learn a certain amount of things, and then from there, it's like, oh, everything now should be as easy as it is that I've already learned, or something to that nature. So we feel like we should be able to shortcut the learning process because we're older. Or maybe we just don't want to take the time. Maybe we've got too much to do and we don't want to take the time to do it. In your case, Akil, it looks like you've got some skills that have deteriorated, and you've also lost people in your life, and that can be really painful. That can be one of those things where, as people that you've loved or that you still love, and they leave your life, whether it's through death or moving or just maybe they stop being your friend. A lot of times that's about the most painful, is when someone's still alive and they just refuse to talk to you, or they refuse to associate with you, or maybe they betray you. And in those instances, that's really, really a difficult thing to deal with. And with the stress that comes from that, I can totally understand how it could lead you to a sense of despair. And then if you can combine that with the natural decline of our skills and abilities as we age, which kind of, it tends to happen. I mean, I'm like 41. I just turned 41. And so I'm getting old, like it's crazy. For the longest time, I was 29. I decided when I turned 29, I was like, I'm going to stay 29. And so I was 29 for like 10 years. It was funny because I would sit there and I remember working. I was ringing up somebody's stuff at a grocery store. I was working at a store at the time, and I was booping the stuff across the thing, and I must have been in my mid 30s or something. And somebody asked me how old I was, and I was like, I'm 29, and they looked at me like I was. They just kind of like looked at me like, I don't think you're actually 29, because I don't know. I guess I looked older, because I was like 36 or something ridiculous like that, or 35. I don't know. At any rate, I was 29 for a long time. And it was because I just didn't want to get older. It was kind of a fun way for me to just be like, hey, I'm still young. But one thing now is that I get excited, as I get older. And I look forward to each next year because of what Ryan was just talking about. Because I want to learn stuff, and I want to continue to learn stuff, and I want to continue to pick things up. And one of the most important things that I started doing was martial arts. And I did that because my kids got involved with it. They got involved doing martial arts, and it looked like a lot of fun. And when the instructor approached us and said, you've got 2 kids in the leadership program, that means any classes that the parents want to do, it's pretty much included in there. So you can come and take any classes you want, and it's free. And we were like, I sat there and I heard that, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm wasting money if I don't take classes then. Because if it's included in what we're already paying, might as well do it. So I started as a white belt. My kids were already advanced beyond me. And there I was. I was a brand new white belt student. And the way that it's set up in those classes is you try and you fail and you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again until you get it right. And even when you do get it right, you can get it more right. You can get it more precise. You can get it. There's always a next level of getting it. And it's set up how we naturally learn things. Like Ryan was talking about, there are things that we need to learn, and they take a lot of concentration and a lot of focus. And when you attempt to do something like that, you're probably not going to get it right off the bat. It's probably going to take some time, and it's probably going to take some failing. It's probably going to take some just getting back up and trying again and again and again and again. And that's the way it is. And I would encourage you to continue to do that. I'm learning. So now I'm learning martial arts, and I'm about halfway to my black belt. So I'm going to be like a 42-year-old black belt, get my black belt, 42. And I'm going to be like, da, 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 look at me, man. And it's going to be cool. But my kids are going to get to their black belt way before me. And I love it. I love that there's that disparity. And I love that there's a way for me to look up to my kids. Because, a lot of times, the kids will look up to their parents, especially when they're younger. And, here's a way that can kind of get flipped around. And I can be like, hey, I can try and catch my kids. I can try and keep up with my kids in something. And it's been just a really cool thing to do. Other than that, I mean, now I've been trying to learn all the emojis that you guys post on here. Golden Dragonplay just posted the cute face, I think. Somebody chime in and tell me if that's the one. But
you nailed it.
I nailed it.
See, even Joe is learning. This is awesome.
Ta-da! I learned, and you know what? I fail at that all the time. Like I will type something and get like no response because I think people probably just look at it and go, yeah, you're kind of not getting it there, sonny boy.
Poor Joe.
Hey, it's okay. Akil adds, a friend of mine told me I'm more of a support type person. I don't have the skills to match pure skills of sports or video gamers, but I did pick up tactics and data when I used to do it myself. Yeah, that's totally true. And here's the thing. One of the things that took me a really, really long time to learn, I learned this just a couple of years ago. And I don't know if it was just pride or what, but I always wanted to be the guy. I always wanted to show that I was important. I always wanted to show that I could do things. I wanted to be, if I wasn't in first place, I at least wanted the honorable mention, And what I learned was that is such, it's such a hard way to live, because then I'm always thinking about myself. And when somebody's excelling at something beyond me and I'm feeling bad about that, I'm feeling a little bit jealous. That's not a very fun way to be. It's not a fulfilling way to be. It's not happy. It causes a lot of stress and pain. To be that support person, I'm learning that now. And I'm continuing. I've just kind of been, this door is opened where it's like, I can just cheer other people on. I don't have to be better than somebody at something else. I can just cheer for them. I can support them. I can encourage them. And that is such a fulfilling way to live, because then, one, it takes the stress off of you. You don't have to perform. It takes that performance stress off of you. And two, you're happy because you're watching somebody succeed, and it's somebody that you care about, and you're watching them excel at something, and it's happy and exciting. And then it's one of the most fulfilling things. It seems so opposite, but this is kind of the way the universe works, that the more you give happiness to other people, the more happy you become. The more you give anything to other people, the more fulfilling it is, and the more of that thing seems to come back into your life, and it seems to grow. And one of the best things is love, because love is one of those things that the more we give away, the more we have, and it's immediately felt. Immediately. And so it's great to be a support person. Oh, and then the part two, I think it was I was working with a local soup kitchen that I'm really invested in managing data, since I've been keeping the information of homeless in check. Kind of carried into other things. Yeah, that is beautiful. because there you're giving without seeking something in return. To help out at a soup kitchen where you're giving people food, people that don't normally have food. We did that. Actually, it was interesting. My youngest son had a field trip, and it was to this place where it was at a church, and what we were doing was we were filling up, I think it was called weekend survival kits or weekend survival bags. And it was just like bags full of some basic groceries and stuff like that. And then, they fill up bags with these certain groceries, and then they take them out and then they give them to people who don't have food. But we were just in the assembly line of putting the stuff in the bags, and then, getting the bags on a cart and then wheeling them out the door so they could load them into vans and cars and take them to where they needed to go. And that was such an amazing, exciting experience. I saw a bunch of kids having a blast, and they were just filling food bags for people. And that could mean so much for somebody who doesn't have a meal to eat on a weekend. And then all of a sudden they get this bag full of food. And now all of a sudden they have something to eat. And when somebody, probably you've been through this before. A lot of you maybe have experienced this before, when you look at a situation that you're facing and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't have money, or I don't have food, or I don't have something. There's something I'm missing right now. And it's just going to be really hard to get through the next few days. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes what you need in order to get through that time. A sense of relief you get from that. And we were able to help people have that feeling. And it was such a beautiful experience to watch these kids be excited about doing something for others. And it was great. So, yeah. Anyway, that's about what I can add to what Ryan says. One thing you said on there, am I being earnest or just selfishly trying to dilute my guilt? I don't know about that. If you feel guilty about something, I would ask yourself why. Because there are sometimes things we feel guilty, but we don't really deserve to feel guilty. There are things that just happen, and then we blame ourselves for them. So I would definitely take a look at that and see if you actually deserve to feel guilty. A lot of times things just happen and they're beyond our control, but we take responsibility for them anyway. Akil says, it wasn't earnest, though. It was out of guilt. I've been involved with shady groups that have been making life miserable for others. It's an atonement. Okay. So working at the soup kitchen and helping the homeless people was something that you did to atone for things that you had done in the past. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. However, and I just used the forbidden word, deserve. Dang it. Sorry, science. Well, one thing to understand about something you do to make up for something that you did in the past. You can ask for forgiveness, and forgiveness is something that's given. You can forgive yourself for those things, and you can say, man, I really was a messed up person back then, and forgive yourself. And that forgiveness, that's it, right? But then doing something in order to, help, in order to grow, in order to help somebody that you might have hurt in the past, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But if I tell you, just in my experience, if I tried to pay everybody back for the things that I had done, like all the wrongs I did in my past, if I went back through there and tried to exact a payment for each one of those things that I had done, first of all, it wouldn't be possible. Second of all, it would drive me absolutely insane and crazy. So sometimes the best you can do is flip your life and say, okay, that's who I used to be. That's not who I am anymore. I forgive myself for who I was. And, you can ask forgiveness from God if you're a religious person. If you read the Bible, Psalm 51 is a great passage that I've used a lot for in those moments of where I needed to forgive myself for something, or I needed to feel forgiven for something. And that Psalm number 51, has been hugely helpful for me. So you can do that and understand that we generally can't make up. We can't ever pay for the wrongs we do. But we can turn and do something good to pay something forward to other people. And what that does is it opens our lives to goodness, and it makes great concrete changes in our lives, changes in the right direction. And it can get rid of the person you used to be. And you can become a better version of yourself, like Ryan had been talking about. So I hope some of that helps you, Akil. Ryan, do you have anything else to go through?
No, that was, I suppose, yeah, that was really great, Joe. Thank you. And you made the last part is really significant. You need to, I understand wanting to pay back what you've done and doing things to atone for your sins or the problems you've caused or the bad you've done, etc. I totally understand that. And I think that, just like Joe said, that can be a good thing, but it can also be the wrong way, if you will. I'm just going to give you an example. I know somebody that was on a Discord server, and he had messed up, and he didn't really do anything terribly wrong, but at some point he was like, I just gotta leave. So he left, and he told everybody, don't let me back in. So after, I don't know, it had been several months, he's like, I've done a lot of growing and I think I can do this now. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, and he wanted to be put in as like someone who, how do you say, manages the server at a high, what's the word? Like a moderator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, sure, yeah. Why do you want to do this? And he's like, well, I want to do this because I want to correct, myself. I want to face my fears. I want to go back in and, right my wrongs and do it right this time. And I was like, okay, that's honorable. And then I asked, have you forgiven yourself about the past? And he said, no, I can't forgive myself until I go in and atone for my mistakes. I cannot forgive myself until I do try to do this and do it right. And I was really hesitant at that point. And I was like, well, I'm not sure that you're going to, be able to do that. And at that point he said, well, I have my way of doing things. You have your way of doing things. I'll do it my way. Trust me, my way is right. And I know me, and your way isn't always right, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Every person is different. So I let them back in as a moderator. And before the day even ended, he rage quit, essentially. He's like, I can't handle it. Ban me now. Don't ever let me come back.
Whoa.
And I was like,
that's pretty extreme.
Yeah. And I was like, it was not like I felt very bad for him. I was not celebrating this fact, but I'm using this as an example to say the reason he couldn't handle it is because he didn't forgive himself before he started. Mm-hmm. When you try to make up for the wrongs that you've done, you quickly learn that you can't. There's no way to rewind time and undo. You can try to do all the nice things in the world, but it's better to forgive yourself first and then do the nice things, because you will never, ever, you will never, ever forgive yourself because you did something right.
Mm-hmm. And
You
it's
will
not
always-
forgiveness anymore.
Yeah. You will never be able to let go of your past because you did something nice in the future. It's always going to haunt you. You have to let go of yourself in the past, and then just move forward, because the future that, what you do in the present, like, hey, I'm going to help these people out. It's going to make them feel good. And then that will make up for my mistakes in the past. Well, the problem is it doesn't. And you know that. It doesn't change the past at all. And it makes you feel like you did something good, but in something that you can be proud of. It's like, oh, those are good things. But at the same time, those are good things. But the past, that was still bad stuff. And you're always going to want to be like, well, I got to do more then. I haven't forgiven myself, so I got to do more. I got to pay more people back. I got to do more good things. It sounds honorable, and it's a good thing to do good things, but forgiveness is something different. Forgiveness comes without pay. And forgiveness is the only thing that will release you from that guilt of the past. And it's not a price that you pay, as weird as that is. Because let's say, I can give tons of examples, but you know what I'm saying. You don't attain peace by paying back what wrongs you did. That's not necessarily where peace comes from. Peace comes from, satisfaction, knowing you're in the right place at the right time, and all of that kind of stuff. But that guilt will always be there until you forgive yourself. Outside of paying something back. Now, with that said, there is such thing as repentance and reconciliation. And that is when you've already been forgiven, then you go out into the world and do something good that programs your mind to break the habits. You do something good, yes, to fight the evil before it hits you again. And that's different. You're not trying to pay back evil with good, because that doesn't work. You're just doing something good to shield yourself from the bad that's to come, because it's always going to be there. Evil things will always come at you, bad opportunities that you might take. So it's good to go out and do good things to build that mental fortitude, that strength, that shield. So what you're doing is good, and it is just that. Even if you feel like you've done it just because you're trying to pay back people from the past, or trying to get things to stop haunting you, good is still good. It's still good. It's a wonderful thing to do, soup kitchen and stuff like that. That's good. But if you want to solve that problem, the haunting of the past and so on, unfortunately, it can't just be written off by a task. It's a mental battle within, and it comes from love. It comes from forgiveness. It comes from the will to move on and to move forward and to give up the past, because that past is no longer who you are. That past is no longer present. And that's not to say it doesn't mean anything. It's there, but all bad things can be made beautiful, can be made good. And you're trying to do that, and that's beautiful. So keep doing that. But I think you have to go through a process of self-healing, which is just forgiving yourself. How do you do that? Joe's talked about it before. You've heard him talk about it before. Just going back to those past moments, replaying them in your head, coming to accept them, and just dwelling on that and saying, it's okay. I forgive you. I forgive me. I did the wrong thing back then, but now I understand. Now I understand more. And I am sorrowful, but I have healed. I will heal, and I'll continue to heal. I forgive myself. and just kind of go through those moments, replay those parts of your past that are disgusting. I understand. They hurt you to replay them. I get it. But just replay those in a peaceful setting, if you will. Maybe again, if you're religious, if you can enter into prayer while you do it, and just kind of replay those things and let it go, and just say it's okay. One thing you can do, I think this has been helpful to me, is you see yourself as a child, and you see yourself do that terrible thing, whatever it was. And you go up and you pick yourself up and you hold yourself tight and you say, hey, it's not your fault. You got dragged into this. It's not your fault. There's evil out there in the world. This is not your fault. It's okay. I love you. I love you. This is not your fault. And if you can imagine that, one thing, rather, I kind of put a twist on it, God is the one doing that for me. God comes in and he grabs me and he holds me and he says, it's not your fault. You didn't put this evil out into the world. You were just having to be a part of it at that wrong time, It's not your fault. I still love you. And it's okay. I will always love you. And I love you through this problem. Mm-hmm. And I want to take you through this and move you forward. And I want to do the same thing for you, Akil. I hope you can get through all of this pain. I know there's a lot. I understand it's not easy, but I believe in you, man. You've come a long way from where you started, and you know that, and you can continue moving forward and fighting your battles, dude. So just keep it up.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Absolutely. Keep it up. One thing that Akil just said is really important. He says, I really don't want to forgive what I've done. I need to remember what works and what didn't. And then Princess responded, you can remember what you've done among forgiveness. Yes, that's true. Those two statements, they don't necessarily have to go together. You can forgive the wrongs that you've done, and you can also still learn from those things. It's not
often say forgive and forget, but that's not exactly how it works. You don't forget, you've forgiven.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. In fact, I drove myself crazy today for a few hours because of a thing that I did that I felt like I messed up. I felt like, oh man, I could have done that better. I could have done that differently. I could have done it this way or that way. And I was like, wait, I had to shut myself up and forgive myself and just say, look, yeah, you made a mistake. Big deal. How many times a day do you do that? Like a zillion. Okay. So I made a mistake. All right. And I just, I had to go back to the moment, and I had to forgive myself, just like Ryan was talking about just now. So go back to the moment, the painful moment, and forgive yourself, or forgive whoever caused the pain, whether it was you or somebody else. You do that, and then you'll be on the path to healing. And that's really, the feelings that you have right now, Akil, it sounds to me like a heart or soul just crying out for healing. There have been wounds and pain, and healing just needs to take place. And the cool thing about forgiveness is it doesn't have to mean that you don't still learn what works and what doesn't work. You can still say, you know what, that thing that I did was wrong, so I'm not going to do it again. That didn't work. I got to figure out a different way that it's going to work. But you can still forgive yourself apart from that learning experience. You can say, I forgive myself for being naive or being young and dumb or just whatever was going on. I forgive myself. My heart was in the totally wrong place, and I did something that was painful. I forgive myself for that. Akil says, I've forgiven them. I just wanted to do something since I still have sands in my hourglass. Yes, do it. But you can still forgive yourself. And doing good things doesn't pay for the wrongs, but it just puts you on a path of goodness. And that is so valuable. So valuable. So sorry, Ryan, I totally interrupted you.
No, I was done. Thank you.
Oh, good.
All right. Would you like to
Anyway.
move on to the next one?
Yeah, thank you, Akil,
that,
so
Akil.
much
And
for
yeah,
that topic.
thanks for letting us talk about it. And I hope some of it's helpful. I hope you can kind of just come to a peace with all of this, because I understand that it is difficult when you look at your past, and it can be hard. So we're with you. We're here. We're loving you, dude. So, you know, stick around. Thank you for being here for us, for all the times that you've joined our streams, and all the times you've written on the forums and everything. Thank you.
Yes.
You're awesome.
You belong here. You had posted somewhere in the chat that you don't know where you belong. I'll tell you what, you belong with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know this is just an online community, virtual community. We're just here on video and in the chat and stuff like that. But man, you belong here. You're a great, great part of our community. And man.
One thing I could say to you that might help you with that, wherever you are, that's where you are. That's where you belong. There are times where you might be like, I don't belong here because you're doing the wrong thing. But as long as you're not doing the wrong thing, you're where you're supposed to be, because you can make good of any situation, make something brighter, make something more beautiful. So wherever you are, you belong, and you can do some great stuff. Even if it's you're meeting people for the first time, you're meeting old friends, you're sitting there by yourself, you're playing video games, you're throwing a pillow at a donkey. It doesn't really matter. You can be where you're supposed to be, doing good things, no matter where you are. So, but I understand that feeling. I've had that feeling before. But it's important to remember, wherever you are, you belong there, because you can still do great stuff. You can do good no matter where you are, because you are good.
It's awesome. That's awesome. So thanks again, Akil. You rock, and keep coming back and keep posting. I love your posts. So yeah, moving on. I noticed that Tef is here, and Tef, we have.
Is this why is Steady P happy?
Yeah.
Or that one, whatever it is. Yeah.
We could talk about that for days.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that. Yeah. Here,
yeah.
Can I find it so you can go first?
You want me to go first? I can go first. I'll tell everybody why you're happy.
All right, yeah. Let's do it. just for the giggles. All right, you ready? Oh, I clicked on yellow. I clicked on Princess Yellow instead of the actual topic, which hold on, that wasn't the right thing to do. It was incorrect. All right, here we go. All right, the question is from Tef. Is static happy? I guess that could be anything. There are a lot of static. There's a lot of static out there in the world. No,
he means you.
I know. Is static happy? And how does he stay happy? All right, there you are. That's the question. Go for it, Joe.
That is a really good question. I can tell you from my perspective, Static certainly seems to be happy. Pretty much any time I talk to him or get together with him, he's happy, and it's not like a Pollyanna out of control type of hey heavy guy. It's like a peaceful joy and contentment. It's such a beautiful thing, because when you spend time with Ryan, it's so peaceful. You're there, and maybe you get some stuff done. Maybe you spend a lot of time working out technical difficulties. Maybe who knows? But every time, it's just peace and contentment, and like, hey, it's there's love surrounding all of those experiences. Because here's the thing, this is what, now Ryan is probably going to correct me on some of this, or at least expound on some of it.
We'll see.
So it's crazy when you get together with Ryan, or when you spend time, even in the video or wherever, you know, whether it's in person or on a video chat, or I'm sure even in a chat room, you just feel this inner peace. Like you feel secure, almost like there's nothing you could do that could cause him to not like you. Like, I can go and be one of the worst versions of myself, and Ryan's still gonna want to talk to me the next day. Now, if I did something crazy, ridiculously violent, or hurt somebody he loves or something like that, then maybe he'd talk to me the next day and ask me why I did that in a stern kind of a way.
Why you do that?
Don't be like that. But here's my take on it. So yes, there's a happiness and a contentment and a love that just radiates from Ryan. And I think now that it's taken me a long time. Again, it takes me a long time to learn stuff because I fail a lot at everything. But the thing I think that sets Ryan apart, at least in my eyes, is that he is a man that pursues virtue like I've never experienced before. This is a person that wants to do good and wants it to the point where he's willing to just figure out what the good things are, what virtue is, and live it. And that is the key to being happy. I had no idea that that was the key to being happy until very recently. I thought the key to being happy was pursuing a goal, or the key to being happy was achieving goals, or the key to being happy was having lots of money and stuff and getting the things I want, or the key to being happy was feeling free to do whatever I want and not feeling guilty about anything. Those things are not true. The key to happiness is living a life of virtue. It's doing the right thing. It's learning what the right thing is to do and then doing it. And in the process, what you're doing is you're loving other people around you. You're following the golden rule, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. The only way you can do that is to think about the other person's perspective. You think about, how would I like to be treated if I were them in that situation right there? Somebody cuts me off in traffic and my immediate response is like, oh, that son of a gun, blah, 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 blah. And then my second response is, wait, I've been that guy before. First of all, I'm sure I've inadvertently cut somebody off in traffic. And I didn't mean to. It was just a dumb moment of mine. So I've been that guy before. Would I want that person behind me to be, thinking all these bad things about me? No. Do I want them to respond violently in a car, like maybe run into me? No, I don't want that either.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Right. But what do I want? I want that person to be able to let go of it and just be like, oh, hey, yeah, I will say, sorry, man, I did not mean to do that. And so a lot of times I think that's what people are like. I try and give them the benefit of the doubt. They're just distracted. They're doing the best they can. And Ryan embodies that pursuit of a virtuous life. I've never met anybody that pursues virtue the way he does. And I think that is the key to his happiness. And so I think I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, and he can confirm that that's absolutely right. Ryan, what do you think?
Wrong. No, I'm just
Nah.
kidding. Yeah. So okay, this is an interesting question. Thank you, Joe. That was really nice and kind of you. I really appreciate that.
It was
And
true, actually.
oh, you didn't. Okay, well, thank you. I thought you were talking about yourself. So you're like, let's see, what would I say about myself that I could say as if Ryan had this? No. For me, I think a lot of it was learning from the past. Doing a lot of things wrong, especially when it came to happiness, chasing the wrong things, responding the wrong way to people. At one point, though, I think one of my biggest as weird as this is usually people's lowest points. For me, this was one of the my lowest points, but my highest points. And that was being able to just remove myself from the situation. I remember things going on in it was about 6th grade. I just couldn't handle all the bullying anymore. And all the homework and all of this and all of these things I had to do. And so I just kind of lost myself emotionally and was like, whatever, it is what it is. I'll just carry on through life, carry it, just go as if emotionless, right? And a lot of people, that's their lowest point. For me, when I had done that, I had realized something really interesting. You can control your emotions. You can control your attitude. You can control your emotions, you control your attitude, and wait, nothing has to get you down. Nothing has to get you down.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pick. And that was probably one of my biggest turning points for becoming a person who is generally, happy about life and enjoying life, because I want to be the guy that's happy for other people around me, not for myself, just for myself. Of course, it feels good to be that way, but also for other people around me. I know people are looking at me and looking up to me. And it's funny, you guys probably think no one does that for you. There's tons of people looking at each one of you, looking at you and looking up to you. And people you think hate you are looking at you because they want inspiration. They're looking at you and seeing what you do because they're actually looking up to you, even though they treat you like they hate you. Trust me, it's weird, but I've seen it. Some of you might have brothers or sisters out there that treat you like poop, but they're looking at you and they treat you like poop, but really they're just looking up to you and saying, I have to measure up to that. But also you're setting an example for them. So anyways, as I was saying, setting up my attitude, I came to a point where I was like, well, I want to enjoy life. I don't want to be upset about everything. So how do I do that? Well, one of the things is whenever I'm having a bad day, sometimes I just have to take a step back emotionally and be like, wait a minute. Let's switch this attitude. Let's choose to, enjoy life here. Let's choose to look at things that I'm thankful for. Let's choose to, switch my attitude around and be joyful, to smile, etc. I think that emotional control is one of the things that guided me towards happiness the most. Not so emotionally fickle or taken over by whatever scenario is going on, but having that fortitude that can take whatever is going on and run it through a filter first and say, hey, what attitude should I have for this? And how do I deal with this? What do I want to do? And I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Other stuff, stuff Joe talked about, which is very helpful. If anybody's, looking for happiness, I'd say also another turning point is when when I'm sure you guys have heard the story before of, when I noticed my online self having a lot of friends and I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be Black Static. And so at that point, that's the point when, like Joe was talking about, I had to chase virtue. I had to look at the world and say, what's good, what's bad? What do I want to be? I want to be the best person I can possibly be, the best person in the world that I was made to be. Because I was made to be happy. I was made to experience joy. I was made to help people around me. to be an influence, to do wonderful things. I was made for wonderful, beautiful, great, good things, holy things. How do I do that? Well, I know those things. Let's just do them. I know it's kind of hard to just do that. But when I forced myself, I realized, oh, it's not so hard. I'm in it right now. And you know what? I'm alive and I'm not suffering. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing these good things, even though they're a bit awkward or, outside my comfort zone. But it feels good, you know? So that's probably another one of the biggest turning points from, being not happy to becoming happy. A lot of happiness is just being satisfied with yourself. And you are satisfied with yourself when you know that you're doing the right things, that you are very satisfied with yourself when you see yourself go out and do the things that you wouldn't normally do. When you go and do the things to make yourself a better person and you look at yourself and you're like, ooh, I am proud of that person. I'm satisfied with them. Nothing can bring you closer to happiness than that. And that's like exactly what Joe was talking about, chasing those virtues. You chase those virtues, you first, you study up on them, you recognize what they are. And if you can do that, then you go chase them. You pick one and you say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in real life with my own body. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do that with my own body, my own voice. I'm going to do that thing that's virtuous. And then it's not for your own pride, but it's for your own growth, and it's for the betterment of humanity as a whole and everyone around you, and you can't help but be satisfied with yourself when you see yourself doing those things. And so a lot of happiness comes from that. I'm a very chill person. I don't get worked up over a lot of things.
Yes.
It's pretty easy to just be happy. It's pretty easy to just be content. There are things that happen every once in a while. Most of the time, if I'm not happy, it's because I've let myself down, but then I just got to pick myself back up and say, okay, well, I let myself down before. Let's, I've done that a million times before. Like, what's new? Let's go, let's do something. Let's chase something. Let's be good. Let's be a good force, a force of good for the world. And I think probably, suppose more so on the religious side, happiness for me is embodying the heart of God. Is when I can go out into the world, or even just in my dark room, just by myself, whatever it is, be a living example of God's love for the world. To be God's heart. In the Bible, it says Jesus or John rests on the kolpos, the core, the heart of Jesus. And Jesus rested upon the kolpos, which is the core, the heart. Heart doesn't just mean, it also means, your intentions, what makes you tick, your passions, your desires, heart, your core, kolpos. It's Latin. Anyways, Jesus rested on the kolpos of the Father who is in heaven. And his desire was to act that out into the world. He says that I can do nothing without it being first desired by God. And so Jesus' living existence was the will of God, and not just that, but his love. And his love was so strong that he died for the world. Not just to forgive them, but to forgive them. Also to incorporate them into his family so he could hold them tight and have them in heaven with him. And that's beautiful to me. And I get that might put a lot of people off because it's religious. But my point of saying that is I want that same look. I want to radiate with the beauty of the Holy Spirit, with that sweet, what's the word? calm, if you will, peace, joy and peace, looking at others with love. I wish I could love others as much as is possible, but I know I don't. But if I pursue that, if I pursue the love of others and continue to do so and grow in that, everything else falls in place. Because then I can also love myself and reach for higher things for myself, and then also reach for higher things for others around me. Or at least try to do so. One of the most, probably my high ends, my strengths is just, I suppose, accepting people where they are and just letting them be them, and not judging them, and just try to love on them. Because then your relationships, they don't usually go sour. Just accept them and not be up in their face. If they're doing something you don't like, you just think, okay, it's all right. But anyhow, I don't know. I guess that's some of my best advice from my life for happiness.
Yeah.
With my experience. I'm
If
not
that-
trying to brag or gloat or anything about it, because I've learned from amazing people about all of this. This whole thing started because I got involved with Joe. If I didn't get involved with Joe first, I never would have looked at Black Static, the character, and said, let's try to actually be him. Because before that, I would probably look at him and just say, that's not fair. But Joe and the community that he was with inspired me to make me realize that, hey, I can have some direction on my own happiness. I can grow. I can have control over my emotions. Like, these are all possible things. And I learned a lot of that through him. So we've kind of helped each other out, I suppose, in our lives towards happiness.
I would say that's probably the case.
Yeah. And another thing I think that's really important is being thankful for where you are and be at peace for the path that you have. You don't get to pick your path in life exactly. You get to pick some of it, but it's better to just enjoy where you are when you are there. Because you don't get to pick, but you at least get to pick your attitude through it. Better to enjoy a grain of sand, for a meal or something. I don't know. Just in context, like, better to enjoy a sand pie while you have it. Obviously, you're not really supposed to eat that. Than to complain about the beef stew you didn't get to eat. Because you're never going to be able to eat that beef stew that you didn't get to eat. You're just sitting there complaining about it and you're having a bad attitude. Rather than eating the sand pie that's in front of you, that's like, hey, that was interesting. That was really crunchy. The texture was really strange on my tongue. Hey, it was an experience. That was kind of neat. And I had fun. It was actually really fun, putting sand in my mouth as like a little kid. I hope I don't get worms, but whatever. Like, that was fun. I'll admit. See, you got to have an attitude where it's like, life, it is what it is. But you got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Anyways, you got to be content. Content comes from being thankful. I was brought up in being Catholic and taught and raised to be thankful, to pray every night, to be thankful, to thank God for the things that I have. And I think that trained me a lot in being to enjoy life, is just to be thankful. Be thankful for the things you have. Don't complain about what you don't have. Just be thankful for what you do have, because that's all you really have anyways. Anyways, that's all you can have control over. You can only control your gifts that you're given, which are gifts. You can't control the things you don't have, so why complain about it? Anyhow, yeah, Joe was gonna say something, so I'm gonna let him speak.
Well, no, you just validated that I was right, so I appreciate that.
No, you're wrong.
One thing Science Rocks said up in the chat was really, really important. I wanted to bring it to light, and that was Science says it's unfortunate that it is so hard to convince people, especially depressed people, that happiness and emotions are choice. They just don't want to believe it for some reason. And that's a really, really excellent point, because yes, happiness and your emotions, like your emotional response, it is a choice. They are choices that we make. One of the things that's very interesting about depression, and I can say this for myself because I remember going through depression. And we don't always have the choice. Like when you're in the depressed state, even though, yes, your emotions are a choice, by the time you get to the point of depression, at least I'll just speak for me. By the time I got to the point of depression, it was because I had chosen self-centered thoughts. I had chosen, kind of self-centered negative thoughts for so long that it had become a habit, and the habit compelled me. So therefore, I wasn't really I didn't have a free choice to choose a happy emotion, because I had made such a habit and almost a psychological addiction to these negative thought patterns, right? So I was no longer free to make the choice to be happy. And that, for me, that's where my depression came from. It was so much thinking about me and doing the things wrong and doing all that kind of stuff. One thing also to remember, because we are creatures of habit, the habit of negative thoughts, the habit of selfish thoughts can lead to depression. You can create the habit in the other direction. And over time, as you choose the happy thought, as you choose the thought of virtue, as you choose the thought of giving and serving and helping other people and that type of thing, and giving your life to others, just giving everything you have to serve the people around you, the more you tend toward those thoughts, the more that habit happens. And then it feels weird to choose a negative thought. I will tell you this, though. It's easier for a happy person to choose a negative thought than it is for a depressed person to choose a happy thought.
That is so true.
Because for some reason, the negative is way more powerful. And so we have to constantly be vigilant about that. But I'll tell you, Science says, I had to get to my lowest point before I realized I needed to just stop it. I also watched a video on YouTube, read Mind Field, a psychology series where one experimental technique was something.
Uh-oh.
The
first part was really great, though. That was a good start.
Yeah, that was a really good start.
So true.
In science, this is really interesting because Science Rocks is a psychology major, I believe, or at least studying psychology. And so you're going to learn some of this stuff. And depression gets it to be a touchy subject because sometimes there's physical chemical imbalances involved. Sometimes there's different addictions involved. There could be all kinds of things involved in depression that, we may not necessarily have the clear picture. Oh, the experimental technique was to tell kids that a fake MRI machine would help their minds heal themselves. It did nothing, but they got better, and it helped me realize that their minds were the only thing that healed them. Yeah. It's the placebo effect.
Yeah, that's so true, man. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Our minds do so much. Our minds are in control of our bodies. They really are. And yeah, so I tell you, if you can take the example of Ryan and learn the virtues.
Not perfect.
Well, no. Of course you're not.
This is a precaution. If you follow me, just remember that I'm not perfect. So I'm sorry for the failure. Are my fault.
Ryan is not perfect. He's just not any less than perfect.
Yeah, at least I'm not any less than perfect, right?
No, but it's not like he's not perfect. None of us are. Nobody is perfect. But if you can pursue good, pursue virtue, and pursue goodness, then I look at Ryan and I take his example, and I feel like such a young like immature person because I see this person who's so grown and developed in the virtues, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm so far behind, and I just I want to do everything I can to catch up. And I know I've got my own journey, just
That's
like every
crazy,
single
man.
one of us is on our own journey. We're all taking the steps that we can take.
I look
But
up
it's,
to you like all the time, dude. So
well, I
yeah.
appreciate that, but I look up to you. So that, yeah, and I'm on video right now, so my words carry more weight.
Yeah, you're also extremely pink on my end because my video is not working right.
Well, you're pink on your end because you're sunburned. Ryan is
Yeah,
in
I'm pretty
Florida,
sunburned. That's
and
true.
while we were figuring out the video complications, I noticed I got to see Ryan on video, and I was like, man, he's red. He's like a lobster. And I was like, maybe maybe he's just faking his video problems because he doesn't want to show up to Don't Worry Wednesday as a lobster.
Actually, you're the one that recommended just not doing the video because of the issues that we were having with it. So I appreciate that. But hey, yeah, no.
Lobster
Lobster
P.
P, yeah, that's it right there. That's the one. I'm gonna change it right now.
The one. You know the one.
You know the one.
It's awesome. So Tef, thank you so much for that question. It was really short and to the point. Is Static happy, and how does he stay happy? But I tell you, there's so much that can be unpacked in that one little question. How does somebody stay happy? That's such an important question. And I think Ryan has a lot of it nailed. So thanks.
I'm sure I have a lot to learn on this subject too. I'm sure as life continues going down its road, I'll be like, it'll be like 3 years from now, and I'll be like, ooh, I learned a lot more about that subject. I wish I could go back and tell this subject, from 3 years in the future. But if you guys, just keep on moving forward, that'll be the same story for you. You'll look back in your past and be like, man, I would tell my past self all of these things. You just gotta keep on moving forward, like you guys are. I know you guys are always growing, and you guys are awesome. So, yeah.
Yes.
This is cool. You guys are cool.
You guys are awesome. So, wow. So, thank you again, Tef. That was great. And we have some other ones here. Ryan, how are we doing on time on your end?
Yeah, it's fine. We can keep going.
Okay, cool.
Probably another half hour or something.
Perfect. So nice. So we have, I believe, next in line would be Kendra.
Oh, Kendra. I haven't seen her in a while. So, well, I've seen her, but we haven't done one from her in a while. So that's cool.
Yeah. And we have one from Kendra. And then Princess and Epsilon.
Yeah, Epsilon. Is Epsilon with us?
Epsilon is with us. Epsilon's been waiting for a while. But Kendra's came in the day before Epsilon's did. So, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kendra and Epsilon are in a relationship. So
yeah.
This will be very interesting. We should see which one of them wants to go first.
They're both gonna be like, do the other person's first.
I know.
Yeah, that's the community we have. Everyone's known selfish. Everyone's caring about the other person.
They are.
Which Kendra one are we talking about? Self-conscious?
It's called Guilty Crying Mess.
Oh, okay, because there's a couple here. Okay, Guilty Crying Mess.
Akil says, do princesses. Well, and Princess says, no, not mine. Well, you guys are so awesome. All right. Well, I tell you what, we haven't gotten any more input from Epsilon or Kendra. Science says, do mine. Which one was yours, Science?
Science is the only one trying to complicate things by picking himself. Kendra doesn't even have one. He's pretending to be selfish. See, look at that.
All right.
Oh,
Kendra
wait.
says we can do hers. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you. We would
They're
love
probably
to.
having a chat. They're fighting back and forth behind the scenes.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Well,
Yours
and-
came first. All right, fine. I'll tell him I'll do mine.
And in all fairness, Kendra's did come first. I just wanted to have that fun little
Fun time.
Yeah. Fun
Yeah.
time.
No, Kendra is awesome. I'm excited to see what this is.
Yes, this is Kendra. It's called Guilty Crying Mess. And so I posted the link there for you all. You can read along as I read it out loud. So it says, first of all, thank you, Kendra, very much for the topic. And we will do our best. So Kendra says, now this was posted last week. There's some timeline things in here. So Kendra says, last night after I got off Discord with my friends, I went to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror and I just started to cry. I don't know why, but I just started to cry. I broke down just crying and I couldn't figure out why. As soon as I looked at the messages of my friends, I realized that I was feeling lonely and I was wishing that I could actually have a real hug instead of a virtual hug. I messaged my friends David and Jarrell, and they both told me to go to the VC chat to talk to them and the others.
Yeah, cool. Go for it.
Huh?
It just means that it's like a voice chat. It's
voice. Okay. To go to the voice chat, talk to them and the others. Immediately, as soon as I got on, I broke down in tears and I couldn't stop. Everyone was doing their best to cheer me up and telling me that they all loved me and that I was important to them. Typing this right now, I am tearing up, remembering the support they gave me. Eventually, they got me to laugh, and I got so many messages in private telling me that if I ever needed to talk, that they would be there for me. In a way, I feel guilty for just crying and even embarrassed. I usually try not to cry in front of others because it makes me feel weak and vulnerable. I'm usually there for others, just listening to what they want to say and giving advice if they want it. I hate crying in front of others, but they told me if I needed to that I could, that I don't have to cry by myself. I wish I could meet all my friends in person and just give them all a big hug. I'm sorry if this is too long. To be honest, I think I just need to hear from someone that it's okay to cry so I don't feel guilty. In high school, I had to hide my feelings because I didn't want there to be any rumors or have people make fun of me for crying in school. Thank you for reading this. From Kendra. Thank you, Kendra, and thank you for posting and being vulnerable in the post, because I mean that also is a level of vulnerability to even post this description of this experience you had. So first of all, hugs to you from the virtual world. I know it's a virtual hug.
Yeah.
But big, massive hugs to you. And I'm going to let Ryan start on this one.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate this post, Kendra. You're awesome. It's interesting. We all do this, I think. And then we all have to come to terms with it. And that is, we kind of have a double standard against ourselves. It's like we would totally let anybody cry on our shoulder and just rant and tell out all of their problems that they're dealing with. And it's just like, you would totally let anybody do that to you, Kendra. But then if you were to do that to somebody else, it'd be like humiliating. You couldn't pull yourself to do that. Like, that's not okay. You can't be the one breaking down and crying for other people, and sharing all of your stories or ranting or whatever. I think we have to come to grips with, like, wait a minute. We're human, just like the people who cry on our shoulders. Sometimes we have to just cry on other people's shoulders, right? Sometimes we're the weak ones. Sometimes things are humiliating because they help us to be humble. Remember that whenever you're humiliated, that's when you're learning how to become humble. And becoming humble is a virtue. It's going to bring you great happiness in the end. Um, and humility is one of the most important virtues, I'd say. I mean, there's a lot of really important virtues, but humility, I mean, people love to talk about patience, and patience is a great virtue to have. There's so much peace to come from patience, but humility is one of those ones that really deals a lot with not just relationships, but your place in the entire universe, and how to treat even the sand that you walk on, or the grass, the trees, the air that you breathe, the people that you meet, and the way you feel throughout all of it. Humility is what teaches you all of that. As weird as that is, humility is a correct understanding yourself in this world. And no one's above the feelings of longing for something to the point of tears. No one's above crying on another person's shoulders or asking for help. We're put in this world among each other to help each other. And no one's above that position of, oh, don't worry about me. No one helps me. I help everybody, but nobody helps me. I'm the top, you know? That's my duty to stand strong so that everybody can look at me and follow my example, or come to me when they're in pain, and I will always be their ground to stand down. Unfortunately, as much as any of us would wish to be that, and we can be that at times, no one is always that. And that's cool. That's awesome, because we all get to play our part as somebody else's ground. We all need a shoulder to cry on every once in a while. And sometimes that's awesome, because once in a while we get to be the person that people, that helps another person. Sometimes we get to help people, and sometimes other people get to help us. And that's cool. We build each other that way. So don't ever feel humiliated for having to, need help, basically. For needing help, don't ever feel humiliated for that. I understand it can be humiliating, but that's just teaching you, hey, you're human, and that's awesome. You get to have these beautiful people in front of you who want to help you, who care about you, who hear you and feel you. And that's something that you discovered. I mean, you probably already knew that, but when you went through this phase, right? It opened up the door to vulnerability, and what you met on the other side was a bunch of people telling you how much they care about you, and that if you ever need to talk, that they're open to it, because they just want to be around you and listen and hear what you have to say, and be a part of your growth as a human being. That's amazing. So I, for one, am glad that you had to go through that, even if it's painful. I think it's beautiful, and you should be very blessed. You should feel very blessed and I'm sure you do, that you went through that. As for the feeling of longing, that's hard. I think we all have this longing for things. I mean, some people have this strong desire to have a physical connection, more than others, and it's just part of your personality. And it's rough. In the end, you kind of just end up building up strength, knowing you can't have what you want, but being able to wait for it. Because here's the thing: maybe someday in the future you can go go out and visit some of these people, right? Maybe all of them, as time comes, if you can't contain or maintain a relationship with these people. So don't ever despair when you get this sense of loneliness, a sense of desire for something that you don't have. One thing to remember is, if you feel lonely, it might be because you are, loneliness is usually not because you're alone, but it's a desire to have something more than what you have. It's not because you're alone, rather it's because you're not content with what you have. And it's important to be content with what you have, not to be complacent. It's good to want. It's good to desire. That's good stuff. It's good to dream. It's good to have a goal. But it's also good to be thankful for what you have in the moment. It's good to be content, to be at peace. And so when that moment comes, when you feel lonely and you feel yourself longing for something more than what you have, and it starts to well up in such a way that is not good for you, it doesn't move you forward through life, but rather it feels like it's holding you back. That's how you know. You need to change your attitude about it and just start thinking about things that you're thankful for. Because sometimes those desires are good. If they force you to move forward, ooh, that's some good stuff. But if they're holding you back, if they make you feel down and just give you less energy, that's a desire that is not necessarily bad, but it means that you have to kind of switch your attitude and be like, hey, I'm fine. And I'm going to be thankful for what I have and content with it. And not because I don't need that. I don't need it. I can have it someday, but I'm not going to let it get me down just because I don't have it. Whatever. Yeah, sure. I don't have it. What difference does that make? None, because I don't have it. It's zero difference. It's 0 plus 0 0. Like what? No different. It's no different than what it is now. Like it's so whatever. Like I'm not going to feel down. I'm not going to let this get me down. Right. If anything, try to figure out a way to make that push you forward and be like, wait, I'm thinking about this wrong way. I'm thinking about it. It's like, oh, I don't have that. I feel terrible. Wait, no, I don't have that yet. I can go get that. Fuel yourself with that. Make that desire into a positive instead of a negative. Switch your attitude. Be thankful for what you've got as well. But anyhow, I know I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to let Joe take over and talk about whatever he wishes to talk about, which is going to be amazing and more wise than any word I've ever spoken yet thus far. So enjoy.
You know why what I'm going to say is so wise?
Yeah. Just because you're going to be like, listen to everything Ryan said. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, because I mean, Ryan, you totally nailed it. But there's something you left out.
Perfect. Thank you.
And it was something that you had said before.
Awesome.
Which is why it's so wise, because I'm going to quote Ryan.
Oh my.
No, I think, well, and
there's
backstory to it. What's that?
Is it Ryan? Oh, I hate that guy.
Just kidding. No. I'm much better at like Static, I guess, right?
Oh yeah. No, they're both great. They're the same. Right. Okay. He's go on.
All right. No, I think good grief, Joe. What? Anyway, no, Kendra, I can totally relate to your feeling about when you cry, you feel guilty, or the fact of having in high school you had to hide your feelings because you didn't want there to be any rumors or have people make fun of you. When I was growing up, when I was in school, I ended up getting bullied quite a bit in middle school and early high school, and then I basically turned it into hatred. That was kind of the wrong approach. In fact, it was absolutely the wrong approach, because I turned it into just alienating myself from everybody. Just, I had a few close friends, and then everybody else, I couldn't stand them. And it came from that self-conscious. It came from being picked on a whole lot for years in school. And I remember getting to the point where anytime I heard laughter, I thought they were laughing at me.
Well, I've been there before. That stinks, man.
Yeah, it's so hard. And anytime I would do something and somebody would point and laugh, it happened all the time. It was just, constant. Something was wrong with my shirt and people would laugh at me. Something was wrong with my pants and someone would laugh at me. Because something was wrong with my shoes and people would laugh at me. There was a time when I ended up breaking down and crying in class and just like running out of the room. This was, I think I can't remember if I was in 8th grade maybe. And I had enough. And I think that probably may have been the case for you here. You said up above, Kendra, that you weren't sure why you broke down. You're still not sure why you broke down. Sometimes we just get to a certain point where enough is enough. Like all of these feelings kind of stack up on each other. And at some point it's just, that's it. There's nothing else I can do. I just start crying. And that kind of happened to me at this moment where I was getting picked on, I was getting pushed around. One of the people was one of my friends, one of the people who I considered to be one of my best friends at the time, and he's still a friend of mine. But he was kind of involved in the whole everybody kind of picking on me. There was this whole group of people and they were kind of pushing me around and picking on me and shoving me around and all this kind of stuff. And it was ridiculous. And I just ended up started crying. I started crying right there in class and right there in school. And they all kind of looked at me funny. And then I ended up running off and sitting in a stairwell and just crying for like 10 minutes. This friend actually came and found me and apologized and kind of helped me, regain my composure a little bit, which was really cool. But, and he felt bad that he had contributed. But so I understand the whole feeling like you have to hide your feelings, because after that moment, I shut a part of myself off. And I started to turn into that hatred. And I started to, it was like building a defensive wall in my heart, but that wall ended up, trapping me and imprisoning me. So I wasn't able to express who I really was. I wasn't able to show my true colors and be myself. I had to be something less than myself. And it was really, really a hard time. And so I totally get where you're at with, having to hide your feelings, people making fun of you in school, all that. I get it. And here's the thing that Ryan had said before that I want to bring into this situation. I remember one time Ryan and I were having a talk about one of his songs. It was, I can't remember which one it was. It was a while back. And I told him, I said, yeah, I love the song. I love every single one of his songs. It's kind of, I probably sound like a broken record. Man, that song's awesome. Man, that song's the best one yet. It's just because they are to me, like for real. And so I'm listening to the song and I'm like, yeah, I did notice a little bit of extra compression in your mastering process. Something that went through some audio stuff, and I noticed that in there. And he's like, yeah, I noticed that too, and I just left it. And I'm like, really? You left it? Why? And he said the most profound thing that I'd heard ever at that time. Now, I've heard other profound things from him since then, but this was like super profound. He was like, I want to put something out there that's flawed, so then when somebody knows about it and they post something about it, it gives them a feeling of importance and superiority. I can help them feel good about themselves for knowing something where I had made a mistake and or left something out or done something different than maybe the standard. And then I give them that feeling of superiority. I give them that feeling of importance. And to me, I just blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. Because what he was doing he knew that part was the way it was. And he left it there for the one reason of helping somebody who knew about that specific thing, give them that feeling of importance. And I was like, that's awesome. Because quite frankly, someone who hasn't been trained in audio and doesn't know what to listen for, they're probably not going to hear that thing. But the person who does, it's going to make them feel good about themselves that they understand that and they can pick that out and point that out. So how does this all tie into this whole thing? I would say this. Why not cry in front of others? Because to some, you're going to give them the opportunity to feel important by helping. You're going to give them the feeling of being a true friend and being there for somebody when they're having a hard time. And you're giving them that chance to feel important, to feel like a friend, and to be that friend. And to the people who don't want to be that friend, you're helping them by thinking, well, hey, at least that's not me being that way. I don't know, that's kind of harsh maybe, but I actually think through that now sometimes when I'm like, maybe I should just do this. I don't know if I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that because somebody's going to think it's stupid. Somebody might think it's okay, but somebody's going to think it's totally stupid, and they're going to feel good about themselves because they're looking at me making an idiot move.
That's pretty true.
It's
great.
And I love that. I loved when I heard Ryan explain that, and it just blew my mind. And I was like, oh my gosh, that opens up so many possibilities. I don't have to feel self-conscious about anything. And you don't either. You don't have to feel self-conscious about crying, about having some kind of a response to something. You don't have to feel self-conscious about it, because you can flip it into the perspective of, what kind of opportunity am I giving another person? How am I helping them to feel better about themselves? By me appearing this way right now, I may be helping lots of people get better through me having a moment that's me maybe feeling like I'm not at my best. But it helps others feel better about themselves through many different channels.
Yeah, there's many times when I've watched other people who failed to be their best, that watching them be that way, I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one that messes up. I feel pretty good now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another angle. One that, yeah, absolutely. It's like people can relate. You make yourself more relatable in those moments.
That's true.
And so, yeah, Kendra, wow. I'm sorry that you got to that point that you felt like it was just overwhelming and you had to start crying, and it was just that emotion that welled up, and it's painful. I'm sorry that you had to experience that pain. But at the same time, you provided a lot of opportunity for people. You showed your relatability. Your friends got to be even better friends than they were before. They got to be true friends that were helping you out. You gave them the chance to do that. That's a beautiful thing. And it gave us a topic to talk about.
Fair.
which is awesome. We're very thankful for that. But really, it adds to the depth and richness of who you are. And that also is a very beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're awesome, Kendra.
Yeah, we love you. Also, my phone died, so I'm not able to read the chats anymore.
But that's okay. I think we're about to the 2 hour mark.
We're about the 2. Yeah, but we're gonna close down soon. So thanks for being with us, you guys.
Yes. And Princess, we have another one from you in the queue. Let's just take a look at this. We've got one from Epsilon. Epsilon, you are here, and you've been so patient. And I really want to get to yours, but I also want to do it justice. I don't want to rush through it. So I think it would be best if we did it on Wednesday. And
or whenever you're here next. We're not gonna
Well, right. If you come back on Wednesday, then we'll do it on Wednesday. If you come back, yeah. Epsilon can go first the next time he's here. Yes.
We appreciate you sharing with it because it's actually kind of interesting. Kendra's here. And you two are a couple. It's really awesome that Kendra's here. She's such a great, bright, beautiful person. And for her to be on the show, and then for you to also post things on the show, it shows a sense of openness with each other, and I think that's beautiful. So, yeah, that I think you guys are doing something really great there.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are awesome. And I know you've shared with us some details about how, you know, the distance relationship and how difficult that can be and everything. So you guys, my hat's off to you. I'm not wearing a hat right now, but
Yeah,
if I had one, I would take it off and I would because wow, you guys are incredible. So thank you. And thank you for your patience. Thank you everybody for your patience. Yeah, we've got a bunch. Oh, we've got some new ones too. We've got one from Kishin Slayer. We've got one from Pokemon Fan.
Nice.
That are now in the queue. So
well, I guess next Wednesday, let's see how many we can get through.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. I mean, sometimes it takes a while to unpack them, and we don't want to shortchange one.
Yeah, but we like to dive deep so we can really get at the cores of the issues and stuff, and give solid advice, or at least encourage people correctly.
Yep. So yeah, come on back. I think we're going to be trying to do these a little bit earlier. I know we started today about 8. Are we going to be trying to get on earlier?
We're trying to work around on 7. We were going to start at 7 this time, but then I had technical difficulties for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that, guys.
And it may be possible that Ryan's video will not be working again. So that's also something to keep in mind. So those of you who just come because you want to look at Ryan, I'm sorry.
We actually have those people, I think.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you had to look at me instead of Ryan.
Oh, but it's okay. Joe's just as hot, so if not more hot, you know.
Well, that's just because I'm wearing multiple layers of clothing, and so yes, I'm hot, and I'm wearing, and I've got a blanket, and you know, because it's cold in Michigan.
Yeah, and we've got the AC on here, so it's like not as hot as it could be in Florida. So obviously, probably about just about the same temperature.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you all for visiting us. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Next time on Don't Worry Wednesday edition.
Yes, nice. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. Much love. Bless.
Love you guys.